right, it is 10:01, and I want to welcome everyone to the Access to Capital webinar on today, hosted by the South Carolina Commission for Minority Affairs. I am Anthony Brockington. I am the Smaller Minority Business Program Manager. And on behalf of our Executive Director, Dr. Dolores DeCosta, and our entire staff, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for joining and participating in this essential webinar. As you may know or may not know, access to capital has been identified as a major barrier to start, grow, or expand a business for smaller minority business owners. So the purpose of today's webinar is to provide business owners and entrepreneurs an opportunity to hear from the subject matter experts in this financial area. Today is going to be a little bit relaxed and informal as you're sitting in the backyard having a conversation with your neighbor. Our experts today are going to be sharing information on what you need to do to qualify and prepare yourself to apply for a loan and address some of those barriers that may occur. They also are going to be providing their contact information as a way for you to connect with them after this webinar is over. We're going to have a seminar, actually a Q&A at the end of this session where you'll be able to submit any questions that you may have through the chat. So we want to go ahead and dive in and actually get started. Our first presenter is Miss Cindi Rourk. She is with the Climb Fund out of Charleston. She's going to be providing some great information. So Ms. Rourk, when you are ready, the stage is yours to begin. You're muted, Ms. Rourk.
You'd think after 2 years of Zooming, I would have this down by now, right? So let me share my screen. It says host disabled participant share screening.
Are you able to share? Mauricio, she's having some difficulty. Can you assist her with that?
He just did that for me.
All right. Thank you so much.
And can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, great. So my name is Cindi Rourk. I am with the Climb Fund. We are a 501c nonprofit certified as a community development financial institution, or what's called a CDFI. Our mission is to create access to capital for small businesses and affordable housing developments that cannot secure traditional financing. And what that really means is that a bank said either no or not fully be able to fund the request. Our goal is, of course, is to improve economic opportunity, economic justice, create jobs throughout the entire state of South Carolina. We actually began in Charleston in 1979 as the Charleston Citywide Local Development Corporation. Some of you probably know this organization by the acronym LDC. But I joined the organization in 2008 as a reformed banker. I took the helm of the organization, and in July of last year, we rebranded to the Climb Fund because we truly think that that name better describes our work, how we help our clients and our communities reach new heights, we help them to climb, and we certainly are no longer the Charleston LDC. And throughout the history of the organization, we're really proud to say that we just made it to over 700 loans, and we've lent over 45 million, creating over 5,000 jobs, 500 plus units of affordable housing. But what we're really proud of is that 95% of our clients are able to successfully repay their loans. And that's because of our secret sauce. And that's what we call in the industry technical assistance. What we really should just call is business advice. We have a full-time employee he's the director of client experience and success. And he oversees over 2,500 hours of this business consultation each year that we provide to our borrowers. But we don't do it alone. We have contracted with some specialists, some small business generalists, QuickBooks and bookkeeping assistants, marketing and social media. Because we only service small businesses where banks have not been able to say yes, you can imagine that we have a lot of food and beverage, a lot of restaurants, a lot of food trucks. And so we hired food and beverage consultants. The same thing with trucking. We hired a specialist in logistics, and we have partners in real estate, HR. So when our clients have a question, we have resources to get that answered. We have networking sessions with our borrowers, even on Zoom, it works. So one thing that I do want to put out there, we will have a webinar in April on cybersecurity. We keep hearing about the threat that the Russian war has created. And so if anyone's interested, you'll have my website at the end and you can register for free. We are borrowers and we are grant recipients. So I do want to give a shout out to our banking partners that have invested in the Climb Fund. We also have private investors, some foundations, and then of course our partners with the federal and state and local governments that provide loan funds and operating funds that enable us to do the good work that we do. These are a couple of slides that I'm really, really proud of. For many, many years, we did really good things, but we did them in small ways. In 2021, 15% of our historical dollars that were lent in fiscal year 2021. I am really proud of our growth and our ability to, I just hit end instead of, our ability to serve statewide. Right now, 37% of the lending that we're doing is outside of the Charleston area. And we were restricted to 3 to 5 counties up until 2021. So we're really excited about our growth. What we're really excited about, though, is that we're reaching the communities that we strive to meet. In the state of South Carolina, about 17% of the small businesses are minority owned, but our lending last year, 56% of our loans were lent to non-white small business owners. And you can see that it's in industries that banks have historically had a hard time wrapping their head around: food and beverage, consumer services, home-based businesses, retail shops. So we have a diverse industry. When someone asks me who our typical borrower is, it's just right around Main Street, because it's anything and everything that you can imagine. We work with our partners. We don't compete against banks. So the vast majority of our referrals come from our banking partners, because if they can't say yes yet, they have a resource. And then when a business has been profitable for that magic 24 months, they can refinance that loan. We don't have a prepayment penalty. And then we just get to revolve those funds to the next entrepreneur that can't get a bank loan. We work with our resource partners, our SBDCs, our Women's Business Centers, SCORE, and other organizations that support entrepreneurship, our chambers of commerce. But really another great referral source is our clients. They tend to be, I think that they can all remember when they had the frustration of access to capital, and when they found the Climb Fund, they're eager to help other folks that are starting and refer us on a regular basis. You know, our underwriting is what we call common sense. We really look at the ability of the business to thrive. So we are going to look at the business acumen of the business owners, the capacity of the business to repay the loan. We do require collateral when it's available. We want our clients to be as committed of the deal as we are. And then we're going to look at the conditions of the market, and personal credit is important. It's not a deal breaker. If We understand that small businesses are human and humans have life happen to them. So we just need to understand that the business owners are stable now. So we are flexible. We do look at every loan on a case-by-case basis. You'll see our website at the bottom of this, climbfund.org/apply. Our business is our business loan application is interactive and can be submitted through there. We do require a business plan, which is why the relationship with the SBA, with the SBDC, Women's Business Centers, SCORE is so important, that they help a business owner understand what we need to see in a business plan. Full disclosure, although we don't really have a maximum loan amount, we have done a loan as large as $500,000. Our average loan size is about $56,000, and we don't really have a minimum loan amount. We have an application in process right now for $3,500. Our interest rates are average around 10%. We have some special loan programs for as low as 2%. For those folks, the business owners have to be within 120% of the poverty level. And we do have a non-refundable $125 application fee that keeps us focused on those business owners that are serious about getting funding. So as Frank promised, Anthony promised, here's my contact information. That's our direct line. We are located in Charleston, but we do have business development officers that cover the state. If you need more information, climbfund.org, or you can reach either one of our pre-loan specialists that hold people's hands through the application process before it goes to lending at info@climbfund.org.
Thank you so much, Cindi. And Cindi, I just have a quick question for you. Great presentation. And I know it's not the Q&A time, but I know it's not the Q&A time, but I wanted to change it up because once again, I want this to be relaxed for business owners, because the goal of this is to break down the barriers, to give them access to subject matter experts like yourself. One of the questions that I receive almost on a weekly basis, and you somewhat covered it in your presentation, when it comes to applying for a loan, let's say with Climb Fund, what is one of the hurdles or barriers where you see where a business owner may not qualify? I know that there can be a plethora, but what are the top 2 or 3?
So my number one is they found us too late. They went ahead and started their project, whether it's starting a business or it's expanding a business, on personal debt. And so they've maxed out credit cards, they've maxed out any personal line that they may have, and they still have a gap of $50,000. They weren't fully funded when they began their project. And so then we have to look at capacity. Like, is it too late to add on more debt? So I would say that the Climb Fund is very slow to decline. So we will refer them to financial planners that help them dissect this until they're ready to really grow their business, look for other avenues for them. So sometimes they want to go from A to Z. They're like, oh, let's just get to C first. Let's just go A to C. And so we'll break a project down and fund it in stages. And so therefore, personal credit is the second thing. I mean, we talked to a young man that said, oh, but that bad debt was 6 years ago. That's about to fall off my credit report. And that doesn't happen, folks. It used to happen that lenders now have the ability to resend that information to your credit bureaus. So if you have borrowed money in the past and you want to borrow it in the future, you have to repay your debts. And then the third is business plans that aren't reasonable. We'll see a business plan that says, I'm going to sell 1,000 in month 1, 2,000 a month 2, 3,000 a month 3. And that's just not simply how small business works. And so they haven't utilized the partners that are out there, the SBDCs, the SCOREs, the Women's Business Centers, in order to understand what realistic growth is in their industry, so they can truly be realistically prepared to run a business.
Thank you, Cindi. That was excellent. That was excellent pointers. Thank you so much. And we're going to be coming back to you as well. Now, next on the agenda, I would like to introduce Mr. Frank Anderson from the Small Business Administration. Mr. Anderson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Brockington. Let me pull up my presentation here. Where is it? Well, once I have to find my presentation again. Let's see. Apologize for the delay.
That's fine. While Mr. Anderson is pulling up his presentation, I saw that Ms. Thompson, that you all have some questions in the Q&A. We're going to make sure to address all of the questions in our Q&A session as well. And as business owners, you all will have the opportunity to ask that question to a panelist, one of the panelist guests, or to that direct potential lender as well.
All right, can everyone see the first slide? Let's see here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Frank Anderson, Lender Relations Specialist with this United States Small Business Administration. We are a federal agency. We can be found in every state and every territory. The focus of the Small Business Administration is assisting small businesses. We help small businesses to start by offering a loan guarantee program to participating lenders around the country. We help small business to grow by funding resource partners who provide one-on-one training and counseling. And also we have government contracting. We allow small businesses to do business directly with the federal government through the SBA. We help small business to expand by offering experts in who assist with exports. So we can help small businesses to export their products and services into foreign markets. And lastly, we help small businesses and communities to recover whenever there's natural disasters, such as earthquake, forest fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, and even pandemics. All right, so the SBA's network of resource partners, we have 4 resource partners group that we fund them. We provide funding to them so they can do one-on-one training and counseling to small businesses. To find out where you can find a local SBA district office and our resource partners, please go to sba.gov/local assistance. All right, one of our resource partners is called SCORE. SCORE is a Service Corps of Retired Executives. They are current and former small business owners who volunteer their time to assist and mentor people in small business. If you need a small business plan, we refer you to SCORE. It exists with that as well. Everything that SCORE does for you is free of charge. All the time that they may charge is when they have a workshop. And one of the benefits of a SCORE counselor is that the business you're going into, a SCORE counselor may have direct industry experience as well. So we have SCORE chapters around the state of South Carolina. You can find their information regarding them on their website, www.score.org. Another resource partner we have is called the Small Business Development Center. Now, they are affiliated with universities. Within the state of South Carolina, they're affiliated with the University of South Carolina, Clemson University, Coastal Carolina, South Carolina State University, and Winthrop University as well. Again, we have them around the state. Also, the Small Business Development Center counselors, most of them have been small business owners themselves. Also, another benefit that the SPD can do for you, if you need assistance with a business plan, it also help you put a loan package together that you may take to a lending institution to apply for a loan. As Cindi mentioned earlier, one thing what you can't is walk to a bank and say, I want to apply for a small business loan. You must present them with a business plan. So a resource partner can help you put your plan together. Now, neither one of the resource partner will write the plan for you, but they will take the time to guide you through the process of putting a plan together. And once you have a plan that's assisted by our resource partners, it improves your chances of receiving financing to get a loan. Another resource partner I'm very proud of is the Women's Business Center. We're fortunate in the state of South Carolina to have 3 Women's Business Center. They do the same thing as SCORE and the Small Business Development Center. However, their primary audience is women, because oftentimes women have different experience to men have in business. So if you need a business plan or there's training and counseling, you contact the Women's Business Center. We have one located on the campus of Benedict College here in Columbia, with another one in Greenville at Community Works, which is an organization that Paul is part of, another organization called I Hope, located in Charleston. So those are the 3 women's business centers that we have in South Carolina, and they're doing an outstanding job serving our constituents here. The last one we have is called the Veteran Business Outreach Center. Now, this is called a VBAR. Presently, the VBAR that serves South Carolina is located in Warner Robins, Georgia, but they cover both states, South Carolina and Georgia. So they cater to the military community. So veterans and military spouses can seek assistance from the Veteran Business Outreach Center. Also, we have a class called Boost to Business for veterans who are transitioning out of the military. Those classes are located, offered on military installations, active duty bases in South Carolina, such as Shaw Air Force Base, Fort Jackson, the Naval Weapons Station in Charleston, the Naval Air Base in Charleston, also the Marine Corps Air Station in Beaufort. So you can go to the SBA's website to find out about the boosted business class as well, and those are free of charge also. Now, the South Carolina District Office is located downtown Columbia. We're on 1835 Assembly Street at the Strong Thurman Federal Building. Our phone number is 803-765-5377. That website is www.sba.gov/SC. On our website, you find our directory, which lists the contact information for everyone in our office. Also, all of our upcoming events, which include this event here today, and also other events put on by our resource partners also. We have currently we're doing a program called the 46 Counties in 46 Days. If you may not know, South Carolina has 46 counties within the state. So each day, starting from February through today, the last day, we conducted a virtual event in every county in the state of South Carolina, making people aware of what the services the SBA has, not only SBA, but other resource partners such as South Carolina Department of Commerce, South Carolina Department of Transportation, also Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and others partners as well, like the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Women's Business Center, all participated in our program for outreach for the rural communities, all the counties in the state of South Carolina. Now, so now we talk about this here. Needing access to capital here, this is what we talked about, our main programs. Now, SBA, as I said, the loan guarantee program. Now, you can't apply directly for an SBA program. Only time that you may be able to do that is for our disaster loans. So if you're applying for a small business loan, as Cindi said earlier, you have to be declined first for conventional standards. There has to be some reason that you don't meet the conventional standards for a commercial bank. In that case, they can't offer you an SBA guaranteed loan if they're a participant with us. You don't have to contact us. They'll provide you all the documentation for the loan. They will underwrite and approve your loan based on the SBA requirements and guidelines also. Now, 2 of our lenders here today are representing our SBA microloan program. So I will let them talk about the SBA microloan program. But I would say it ranges from $500 to about $50,000. Other loan programs we have is called the 7A and our 504 loan program as well. Now, the microloan program can be used for all the purposes of the other loan programs, with the exception of real estate. You cannot purchase real estate with a microloan. Now, with the 7A loan, that has a maximum loan amount of $5 million. So again, the SBA loan programs range from $500 to $5 million. It can be used to launch a business, start a business, to grow a business. If there's a business that needs to restructure debt, debt can be refinanced with SBA loan. You can purchase a business with it. It can be used for a line of credit as well. One of the slides earlier mentioned that SBA has attractive terms. For an SBA line of credit, you can have a term up to 10 years for that. For a normal bank loan, they're probably anywhere from 4 to 7 years, but the SBA has a longer term, which would allow for the borrower to have lower payments over time. We also have a micro 504 loan program. That loan is used to purchase long-term fixed assets such as real estate, equipment, also can be used for inventory as well. Now that loan is done through certified development corporations, and that has a maximum loan amount of $5.5 million. So loans again can be used to buy business, to grow business, refinance debt. You can buy inventory with it. You can buy machinery, equipment, real estate with it. Also, you can export your products and services in the foreign markets. We have 3 loans for exporting. What's called the Export Express. That loan has a $500,000 maximum loan amount. We have an international trade loan and an export working capital loan. Those loans have a $5 million maximum loan amount for those loans. In cases of disasters, one second here, where are we? In case of disasters, we offer long-term loans, helps community recover as well. Now, if there's again an earthquake, forest fire, something like that, and the president declares those areas a disaster, so then FEMA and the SBA and other services are moving to communities and offer loans. So for the past 2 years, we've been dealing with COVID and other natural disasters as well. So for those programs, we did institute programs such as the PPP loan, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Those are currently being processed now. The PPP loan has expired. Also, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or EIDL loan, has expired as well. But I will tell you, in case you ever need these services, how those program works. Now, if you're a homeowner and your home is damaged, you can borrow about $250,000 to help make repairs to your home. If you're renting a home, you can borrow about $45,000. And for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, small business owners, that loan goes up to $2 million. It's a 30-year loan. The fixed interest rate of 2.75% for for-profit businesses and 3.75% for nonprofit businesses. Now, the deadline to apply for those programs was December 31st. So individuals who have submitted applications, they are still being processed at this time. Also, the loans can be used for machinery, equipment repairs, inventory. If you have to be reservist or National Guard member, you called up for active duty, loans can be used to recover that process also. And lastly, the SBA South Carolina District Office, again, we have 3 locations. Our main office located downtown in Columbia on 1835 Assembly Street. Due to COVID protocol, we're not seeing anyone in person, so please do not show up to our office. And my phone number is 803-765-5377, and the website, www.sba.gov/SC for South Carolina. Again, this Small Business Administration located in every state, every territory. 2 alternative locations. One is in North Charleston. Mr. William Furman is in that location. His phone number is 843-225-7430. We have a Spartanburg office also. The number is 803-253-3123. So that concludes my presentation, and I will be around for the Q&A sessions to answer your questions. So thank you all for having us today. We're happy to be a part of this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Frank, for that great information. Greatly needed for our business owners. And Frank, I'm going to ask you, I'm just going to do a follow-up just like I did with Cindi as well.
Yes.
From your expertise, right before we get Mr. Wilson on deck next, Frank, what are 2 barriers that you see through your lens and from your experience that are barriers for small and minority businesses? What can they do? Because it's a major issue. What can they do based on what you've seen? And I know there's a lot that you've seen, but I'm trying to fill an elephant through a small window here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, one thing we recommend is definitely research. A lot of people ask about grants. I will say this, it is very, very difficult or either non-existent to find a grant to start a business. Now, sometimes communities or economic development centers will have some competition that you may qualify for or compete with, but there's no one giving out free money to start a business. So that means you have to find out what the expectations are. If you've been in business for less than 2 years, you're a startup business, okay? So, and then also there's no such thing as 100% financing. When you apply for a small business loan, you can invest anywhere between 10 and 20% at the minimum. So if you are a startup business, you need to be prepared to invest between 15 to 20% of your loan amount that you're seeking. So if you want $100,000, you have to invest between $15,000 to $20,000. That's called the equity injection from the small business owner. Secondly, is being credit worthy. Cindi mentioned about that earlier. Now, our disaster loan program, we will accept credit scores high 500s. And also for our microloan programs, we will accept credit scores in high 500 range also. Those are the only two programs that you can qualify for that range. So my opinion, to be credit worthy, your credit scores in high 600s at least. 700s preferably, but again, 600 at least. So what you need to do, one, work your credit if you're not credit worthy yet. Secondly, be prepared to make an extra injection that's required for your business you want to go into. So the larger loan amount that you're looking at, be prepared to make that 15 to 20% equity injection. Those are the two main things that hurt small and minority businesses. They're not prepared to meet those two expectations.
Thank you, Frank. That was great information. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for participating. We're going to circle back to you and Cindi as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Up next, we have Mr. Marvin Wilson from Lendio Charlotte Capital, who's going to be presenting on today as well. Marvin, whenever you're ready, you can share your screen and the floor is yours. Marvin, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm trying to jump on here real quick.
Okay, all right. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right. All right. Can everybody see my screen here?
We can see the screen, but there's no presentation. The phone icon is up. There's no presentation on it yet, Mr. Wilson. If you like, Mr. Wilson, we can circle back and I can begin with Paul, if that will fit better, or can you continue?
Yeah. Circle back. I'm just trying to get this thing.
Not a problem. Not a problem. We will circle back with you. So up next, we actually have Mr. Paul Schmitt from Community Works, who is with us on today, who's going to also share some great information for our business owners. Paul, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let me get to, I had this thing all set up and now I don't see it. Hold on just a moment. I was going to pride myself on being super prepared, and I don't know why I don't have the option. Give me 1 second. I really apologize.
You're good. You're good.
I don't see the option to pull up my PowerPoint, even though it's on my screen. Wait a minute. Show all windows. I'm so sorry. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll share this screen here and we'll just talk through what we've got.
Okay.
Again, I apologize. I had something set up here, but I'll talk through it. Just to let you know, I'm the director of lending for Community Works. We're located up in Greenville. We are a lot of, listening to Cindi's presentation, I could check off about 80% of the blocks, right? We're very similar. We're like sister organizations. We are both nonprofits. We are both CDFIs, and we both serve a lot of the same clientele. One of the things about us is that we were started as a Greenville Housing Fund about 12 years ago. We evolved from that into a small business lender, and we have been focusing on small business lending, and we've been focusing on affordable housing lending for the past 5 or 6 years, especially. I tell you real quick, the the main areas we focus on are small business, affordable housing. We also have some programs for down payment assistance, and those are more localized programs like Prisma Healthcare, certain government agencies and things like that that offer that. We don't have a blanket down payment assistance program. And we also do consumer loans through a partnership with Self-Help Credit Union. On the affordable housing side, I just want to touch on it real quick. I know we're talking small business today, but just so that you're aware, we do different types of loans for the acquisition, the development of small business, of affordable housing. And the main thing that we launched in the past year has been a line of credit product, especially focused towards minority developers. You know, the big thing and the reason we're all here today is access to capital is crucial and it's difficult. And as Cindi said earlier, I am also a reform banker. I know that from my banking experience, a lot of minority businesses were excluded because of issues with credit or issues with how long they've been in business, or, you know, and not having strong personal net worths. And so what we're trying to do is change that. And through our affordable housing, we have a line of credit that we can offer where folks can acquire a property using our funds. They can use our money to rehabilitate the property. And then when they sell the property, it is deed restricted as an affordable housing property for a minimum of 20 years. And then use that funding, the profits they make on that, to go to another project. So we're really pleased with that. It's, in a sense, it's a small business product because we're talking about entrepreneurs, but trying to help on that side. And we have a lot of other affordable housing programs that we won't discuss today. But on the small business side, what I want to do, if you look on my screen here, you'll see, and by the way, this is communityworkscarolina.org. If you click on services and then small business, you'll get to this screen here. And you can see, I wanted to show you real quick all of the products that we have. Let me move this little screen so I can see here. Okay, these are all the products that we offer on small business. And this is something that one blessing of COVID was that we had a lot of time to reorganize where we were going and trying to find ways. We have an incredible program manager named Katie Davenport who works tirelessly to try to pinpoint what the needs are out there and for us to develop programs to fit those needs. We just started this credit builder savings. You see up to $900. This is a lot of times, and I may be saying 50 to 60% of our loan applications are folks who have had credit issues and are still in the middle of credit issues. And we can't, if you're in the middle of a credit issue right now, where you've got 3 or 4 credit cards, they're all past due right now. We don't have a product to help you with like a loan to expand your business. But we do have a financial counselor. You meet with the counselor, that she looks at your budget and determines how much of a monthly payment you can make. And then we create a secured savings account for you and do a 12-month loan. And the purpose of that is, number one, you show us that you can repay a loan. And number two, it helps to build your credit. It is a secured savings. So the money does not go to you, it goes to a savings account. But then when you're finished, the money is given to you. And then you in 12 months or so to use that for what you need. Then we hope you'll graduate to what we call a business capacity loan, which again is a small $1,000 to $3,000 loan. But in that loan, that is funding that you can use to expand your business. I have to tell you, coming from banking, the biggest shock that I had when I first got here is seeing how I could lend somebody $5,000 and they could open a beauty salon with that money. They come in, they use $1,000 of it for paint and wallpaper. They use $1,500 of it to buy a couple chairs and stations, sinks and whatnot, and then the equipment. And we've seen many businesses start with a $5,000 loan and over a couple of years grow into something else where they come back for another loan for maybe something, to expand their business. So you can see, the Express loan is probably our most popular product, up to $10,000. These are 3-year loans, and they can be used for pretty much anything, but it's mostly used for equipment and working capital. Then the Express Plus loans. This one's here. If you have had a loan with us before, we can do a quick application process to get you up to $15,000. Micro business loans, this is where, you know, when you hear about us and Climb Fund and others, micro business loans are loans under $50,000. The requirements for these are a little bit more than they would be for our express or capacity loans. But in this is sort of the meat of what we do. This is 90% of our loan applications. And you can see below it, we also have a micro business startup. Right now, we probably have $50,000 request for a $50,000 startup loan. And my advice to you is when you see something like this and you say, well, I might as well apply for it and see what I can get. It is better for both of us if you spend some time and figure out what you need. You know, it's not like a line of credit where we say, yeah, we'll give you up to 50, you know, but tell us what you need. The one we looked at last week, they wanted $50,000. They really only needed $22,000 to get what they needed accomplished. And it streamlines the process if you come in knowing what you need versus saying, well, I'll take 5 for this, 5 for this, and give me the rest in working capital. As Frank said, you know, there's things out there like, you know, we do want you to have some equity in the process, but we also focus on, you know, your ability to repay the loan. And with our startups, I do want to have a caveat here. With our startups, you do have to have a secondary source of income. We do not have a program where if you're starting a business and it's your sole source of income, we cannot assist you with that. The risk of that is too high, and especially for a small organization like us, you know, that would be difficult. But one that we approved this week for $30,000 where someone who is starting, he's working with somebody who has a transportation company, and he's purchasing a trailer and getting a driver and then leasing a truck from the other person and in the process of starting his own transportation company. And so, but he still has a full-time job that supports the debt, so we're able to do that. His goal over the next 5 years is to leave that job and have a transportation company. So as you can see, we're more of, on the startup side, we're more of a transitional lender than a, you know, then you just come in and say, I've got this great idea, I need $50,000. We need to see that there's other income. And reason for that is we want to know that your rent's paid, your utilities are paid, your credit cards are paid. If you have to deal with student loans, they're paid. We don't want to put you in a situation that you would not be successful. We also do small business loans up to $250,000. We are a community advantage lender under the SBA 7A program. As Frank can attest to you, we have yet to close one of these loans. We've taken a few applications close, and the struggle that we have is the struggle that you have. The struggle is to get the proper documentation and all the information that we need to get a loan approved. However, we did team up with a loan service provider at the beginning of January, who is an expert on community advantage loans, and they will be helping us to target our market and move forward on that. So that may be something that we can assist you with. But with all of this, the biggest thing that I want to say is that the two most important things we look at are cash flow and credit. We do not have a minimum credit score. I've made loans as low as 560. Our average credit scores are probably in the low 6s. You know, when we get a credit score of 750, we're excited because we know that piece is taken care of. But we don't look at the score. We look at the credit itself, and we look at your last 6 months, 12 months, and 24 months of history. So if you got sick in 2018 and you piled up some medical bills, but all of your payments in 20 and 21 have been made on time, then you're a candidate, right? We're not, even if your score is 560, you're still a candidate, you know. So what we're trying to look at is, you know, we understand that if you have something, you lose a job, you get in an accident, you get sick, something like that, you go through a divorce. A lot of times divorces will wreck people's credit. So that's why we look at the most recent. And on the cash flow side of things, what we look at is we want to make sure that you have the ability to repay the loan and take care of your personal credit. So personal debt. So we use something called a global cash flow analysis And we developed that, we streamlined that over the last 6 months, trying to find a way, because believe me, and the other lenders on here will tell you, we want to lend money. We have money to lend, and we want to lend out there. As Cindi said, we don't say no. If we can't help you, we may send you back for the credit, the secured savings loan. If we can't help you, we may send you to our financial counselor to help you understand how to improve your credit. And also, I can say right now, the single most frustrating thing for us is if you have a business account, keep it separate from your personal account. If you don't, it makes it very difficult for us to determine your cash flow. And when you're commingling funds, it makes it difficult for you to really understand what your business profitability is. If every time on the way to work you stop at Starbucks or McDonald's and you're putting that on your business account, it's kind of sort of muddy the water. So number one, have a business account. Number two, keep it separate is something that's very important. But that's all the small business products we have. I did want to say, I don't have a slide to show you, but we do. I did want to show you this. For example, if you're going to do an express loan with us, you click on this here, and it shows you before you go into it, shows you all the things that we need from you. Now, it may look like a lot, but as you check through it, it should make a lot of sense. If it doesn't, we're prepared to help you with that. You don't have to have all this ready when you apply, but we would like you to just recognize this is what you're going to be doing. You click the eligibility button, there'll be 3 or 4 questions for you to answer regarding, because the main things are, number one, you have to be over 18. Number two, you have to be your business has to be located in the state of South Carolina. 3, you can't have an active bankruptcy. And 4, I think, is that you're not in one of the business lines like I can't think of them that the SBA prohibits lending in. So once you do that, then it takes you to a program called Lender Fit. You fill out the application, it comes into us, and then one of our 2 lenders will get back to you and start the process. And we just launched this in February, and Lender Fit is a program where everything you do is online. So everything you submit is in one place, everything we submit is in one place, and you can go in at any time and see where you are in the process, and we can too. So I say all that just to say that we've streamlined all of that. And then as a matter of time, the other thing I wanted to mention, a lot of things Cindi and Frank have already mentioned, use the SBDCs, use the women's business centers, use SCORE. They are great resources for you, helping you to focus on your business. I believe someone said they're not going to do the business plan for you, but they're going to show you how to do a business plan, and they're going to make suggestions for you. And Community Works is proud to say that we were able to open a women's business center in our building in the summer of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. I know there's others. There's one at Benedict College, I believe, and I don't know the others, and I apologize. But the women's business centers are a great resource also. And our ladies like to say it's not just for women, it's for men too, but the focus is on women, the focus is on minorities, the same things that we're all talking about today. But what I wanted to show you here is if you go to the Community Works website, you'll see Women's Business Center. And if you click on it, you'll see one of the things that they do really well, especially with the pandemic, is online access to education and resources. And as you can see, tomorrow afternoon, we'll be doing, I'm going to be working with them on this, but we'll be doing an Access to Capital for Small Business Ask a Lender program tomorrow afternoon. And you can sign up for that. And then that is something, it's about an hour. It's real informal. It's like, bring your questions that you may have about, hey, I want to do this. I don't understand that. And our team will be on there to help you. And you can see that there's other ones here, April 7th, April 12th, marketing. Cafe Friday is a networking thing that they have set up. And so just, in the next 30 days, they have those. So with all that said, I just want to say that, that we are focused on women. We are focused on minorities. We believe strongly that access to capital is an issue, and we're doing everything we can to ensure that you have access to capital. And if nothing else, you have access to education and resources to help you. If not today, then tomorrow, and we'll be there for you. So thank you, Anthony.
Hey, thank you, Paul. Great information. Paul, I want to circle back to you on a couple of things that you mentioned as we're going to be leading into the Q&A right now. Anyway, you mentioned about the affordable housing credit. Is that a line of credit or is that a loan program that you have for that, for a business owner who that business owner may be, a repair person or someone looking to purchase a property to get in to flipping houses? Would that be a program that they could possibly look at, Paul?
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
where we fit into that is that it does need to be that when you have to commit to keep the house affordable. So if you are, the line of credit program is really set up as a flip type program because it's a line of credit. You come in, you go out, and every time you sell a house, you create room on that line to do another house. So that is used for what we'll call flipping houses. But when you sell that house, there's going to be a deed restriction on it, an affordable housing deed restriction. And I think the way it reads is that the owner of the house cannot sell the property for more than 3% more than what they paid for it per year over the next 20 years. And that's to keep someone, Anthony, from coming in and using our funding and building a house and selling it affordable, say for $150,000, and then next year selling it for retail, which is $210,000. And so that defeated the purpose, right? Our goal is to create a stream of affordable housing out there. But we have not only the line of credit. I mean, if someone has just one house that they want to renovate and they're going to offer it for rent and they're going to keep it within, we want to be under 80% AMI. And so if they want to do that, we can do that. We have some one-offs where we do that. So either way, we can help you with that.
Another question I had for you that I received, and I know the lenders on the call probably received it as well. Had a business owner who started a business and they were trying to get a loan, but they filed bankruptcy. Is that a barrier? Is that a hindrance? And I don't know if that's a question you should answer, or should I open it up to the panelists at a later time? But it is an inquiry that I actually received here in my office, Paul.
Yeah, for us, for loans under $50,000, you would have to have been discharged from bankruptcy at least 18 months. Okay, so the discharge means your bankruptcy is completed. For larger loans, I believe it's 24 months, and I think Frank can speak to what the SBA requirements are. But for above 50, it's 24 months that you need to be clear of the discharge of your bankruptcy. So it's not a definite no, and it's not a 7-year wait. There's other factors too. Some people come out of bankruptcy and man, they ton it after that, right? They do great. It did what it needed to do. It gave them the relief, and going forward, they're doing what they're supposed to do. But I looked at one recently that's been out of bankruptcy 3 years, and their credit right now is not there. They just let their credit go again. So it depends on where you are now, but the bankruptcy itself is not a flat no.
Okay. All right. Also, I want to get some more information, but I don't want to run over time because I know Mr. Wilson is on deck. I want to talk with you a little bit too about that lender fit process. If you have someone who's on the call right now, and let's say I'm located in McCormick, South Carolina, or I think it's pronounced Clio or Clio, depending on where you're from. You laugh, but how can they access you? All this on the call too as well. If I'm a business owner in Dillon, South Carolina,
Well, that's the beauty of online, right? You don't have to come to our office. The first time we may meet you may be at your closing. We do our closings in person, but no, anyone, as long as the business is located in the state, anyone can go in there and start the process and follow up. There'll be follow-up phone calls and emails. And so whether they're 20 miles away or 200 miles away, the process would be the same. There's no hindrance based on geography.
And you talked about too, that secondary source of income, Paul, whenever they're applying. So basically the business owner needs to keep their full-time job while they're in the process. You call yourself a transitional lender before they fully get the loan. They have to have another income coming in.
They do. Now that income could be in the form of a spouse. If
Okay.
their spouse,
Okay.
I'm looking at one right now where the spouse is working full time and has a great job over at Michelin. And she's, actually in this case, it's a he, and his job is there. And as she starts the business, as long as his income can support, the loan request, then we're okay. So it doesn't mean, but of course, most businesses we deal with are small enough that they're going to be started on the side. The entertainment type things, cooking type, bakeries and things like that people want to move from their kitchen to something better. But we definitely look for those alternate sources of income. But if it's a single person, a sole proprietor, and it's a pure startup and they don't work anywhere, then that is really the only thing that gets no. I'd say we don't say no, but that would be a no. But there would be a not yet, right? Let's find you. Here's an example. We had someone wanting to start a chiropractic office, and they did not have any income. They were living off of savings. And so what happened is one of them is going to get a job in someone else's chiropractic office and establish that and start working for income while the other one starts the business. And then when the business can support both of them, the spouse will move out of their job into the business. So that's kind of how we did that one.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson, are you ready, sir? I'm not sure if you can hear me. Mr. Marvin Wilson? I think you're muted. We cannot hear you on our end.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir. Mr. Wilson, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, can you make me host? I think that was because I couldn't share my screen last time.
Mauricio, are you able to make him a host where he can share his screen? Are you able to share now, Mr. Wilson?
No, it's not giving me that option to share.
If you like,
up for me.
If you like, you can just share a little bit about your organization, if you like, while we have you here, and you can also put your contact information in there as well.
Okay, all right. Definitely just. All right. All right, thanks, guys. Sorry about the difficulty. I was just trying to see where, I don't know why I was able to share my screen. But yeah, I'm Marvin Wilson. I'm here actually centrally located, franchise owner of the lending opportunity of Lendio Central Charlotte. So I sort of centralize a lot of industries that's really, coming up the float here in the next, I would say in the next 3 to 4 years. I had the opportunity to buy into a fintech program that's a different type of model, different type of banking model. It gets into a lot of different alternative lending, definitely does a lot of traditional lending, a lot of short term, and a lot of different other aspects when it comes to lending. Now, all the products that most traditional banks have, I have, but the difference with my model is that we just have an array of different type of lenders, and it all goes by, the different type of business you're in, the NAT code, a lot of different things that can be instrumental in helping people to get funding. And so what I saw was I was able to solve that problem to be able to, being a franchise owner, was to able to really understand as a business owner, one, to be able to come to the community and to present and see what was the problem that I needed to solve. Well, of course, you know, we have a lot of seasoned businesses, 3 to 5 years. They can show the last 2 years, 4506s, taxes, all this type of stuff. And we had a lot of different programs for that. You know, you got, of course, when people can come to the table, or business owners can show different documentation or pretty much what we need or what we're asking for, then it's an easy process. But what about the education when it comes to a lot of the I would say startup business owners? Startup business owners that when I seen a gray area that I saw, and I was one of them at one point in time, was the guys that couldn't show the 6 to 8 months bank statements, the ones that couldn't really show cash flow. You know, now we know relative to credit and different cash flow options, you know, of course, you know, the more the merrier, the more fundable you are. So I started a program here in the Carolinas called Are You Fundable? Now, Are You Fundable is pretty much a very simple application process that we sort of run. I sort of customize it just based on the needs of business owners out here. So basically what it is how long you've been in business, what type of business that you're in, you know, and also, you know, do you even have business bank accounts, different things of that sort, because those are things that was coming to the table that that we were running up against. So with that being said, being able to go ahead and get in front of these business owners and ask them just some simplistic questions about their credit, thinking that they had 700 plus credit scores, that they would be able to get $100,000 when they didn't have any more than 2 or 3 years of credit history, just not even understanding credit in general. So I invented and I didn't invent it, but I definitely made sure that we was really corralled around the soft pull program, which of course a lot of the lenders are definitely understanding what a soft pull means that of course we can get you into a pre-qualification and put you into an array of different lenders and be able to get you a soft pull and pre-qual you based on where you are. A very simplistic way to show people why they didn't qualify, but it didn't hit their credit and didn't mess up their opportunities of future funding. So with that being said, I had a very well and respected business credit and credit business connected to my Lendio Central program, solid lending opportunity to sort of get into the dynamics of when they're not fundable or when they don't qualify. Okay, well, what happened? What was it?
Marvin, you just went muted. We are unable to hear you on our end. We're still unable to hear you. Mr. Wilson? We're still unable to hear you at this time.
Give me.
Okay, what we're going to do at this time, I think Mr. Wilson is having a little bit of difficulty here. We're actually going to move into our Q&A session, and Mr. Wilson will have an opportunity at a later date to be able to present his company to you all as a business owner. So at this time, Ms. Andre, I think we have some questions in the Q&A that we would like to present to the guest panelists here that have asked a few. Monica Williams asked a question, and it says, understanding there aren't grants available to start a business, how do you raise capital, especially if your project costs $500,000 and you need to come up with 20%? And that's an open question to the panelists.
Anthony, I'd like to take that question. There's a term that's called bootstrapping. It's like using what you have to get by. I tell small business, oh, you don't need the latest and greatest equipment. You need something that will get the job done. But there's looking for investors. There's partnering. There's alternative financing. There could be equity lines of credit, like home equity line of credit. There's other options of doing that. And so also to mention that was the secondary source of income. And all those things can be used to raise those funding. It could be just over a period of time. You have to set a goal, what you need to save to get there. But that's something. And also, you consider also loans that are $25,000 for the SBA, loans that are $25,000 or more requires collateral also. So you need about 75% of that collateral to cover that loan amount you're seeking also. So again, they're all barriers to entry. That's why I said most important thing is research up front to find out what those barriers are, how to overcome those things. And sometimes to say it may be a multi-year process to do that. But there's also something called like crowdfunding. There's angel investors like wealthy people. South Carolina has a network that's called SCCMA.com. Sometimes you go out there, you can mention what type of project that you're trying to do. You can set a certain amount of money to raise, and sometimes people would invest in you, help reach that goal. Same thing with crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is in that way as well. I had a couple that came to our office some years ago. They asked for $10,000. They had a plumbing supply business. Originally, they were turned down. They came back and found out what the errors were. They correct those errors. The second time, they were able to raise $100,000 off of crowdfunding. So there are sources out there. There are alternative sources out there to do that.
Thank you, Frank. Cindi, this one is for you. It says, does the lending report to DNB and all credit bureaus?
Thank you for whoever asked that question, because we have reported to Dun & Bradstreet for years now, but reporting personal credit, and rightfully so, is a very arduous process to qualify for. And beginning in May, we will be reporting on personal credit as well, and it will help bolster our clients' personal credit score. So we're really proud of that work.
Thank you, Cindi. Elaine asked a question. What if they are collecting retirement and Social Security income? Could a person qualify for a loan? And that's for any guest panelists.
Yeah, I can answer that. Yes.
Okay.
That absolutely. We do have cases where someone is on disability and is then starting a business. So yes, that, we can verify through your checking account the deposit being made, and then we get a copy of your letter. So yes, we can do that.
Okay.
But I like to add something too, is when someone is on disability income, sometimes there's a limitation from Social Security about how much money they can make. So they need to contact Social Security to be aware of that. Particularly if you got veterans, if you have a veteran who is non-employable, which means their income is limited outside the VA disability. So I would say people to check Social Security to find out what's limited, if there's an income limitation. Some of them do not have that, so they can make as much as they can. Sometimes they do have restriction on revenue and income.
Thank you, Frank. Lanice asked a question. She wants to know, how hard is it to get a loan for a transitional supportive housing center? Frank, I think that may be, Paul, I think that may be a question for you. She asked, how hard is it to get a loan for a transitional supportive housing center?
Well, I am glad that she asked that question, because we just closed the loan last month. There is a gentleman in the upstate who creates housing for formerly incarcerated individuals and individuals who maybe are coming out of rehab, where it's shared housing. For instance, it's like a 4-bedroom house that he purchased. and he puts, 2 beds in each room, and they share the home and they have responsibilities. I mean, it's a fantastic program he started. He started 2 houses on his own, and this third one, we helped him with some funding to actually purchase a home. So whoever asked that question, I'm sorry I didn't catch the name, but if you reach out to us, we'd be glad to talk to you about that. You may just need funding for like the first thing we did was just funding for just beds and desks and filling the pantry the first time and things like that. But the second was to help with the doing a mortgage on the building. So, but we'd be glad to talk to you about that. Something we're very interested in.
Thank you, Paul. Charlie asked, I'm wondering about the business housing loans for rental investment and flipping housing. Can you post the names of those products and information for contact? And I don't know, it may be best to post a link to that maybe in the chat, Paul, for him. He's asking, can you post the names of those products and information for the contact? While Paul is doing
Sorry,
that.
I was on mute. Business housing loans for rental investment, flipping houses. Yeah, I'll drop a link in there. The only thing with our programs are that it's for affordable housing. We don't have programs for if you're going to flip houses, at retail. I call it retail, but at full market value. We don't have funds for that. Since our funds are limited, we want to use them only on affordable. But I'll be glad to post the link, or I can say, well, I can answer it here. If you go to, I'll post the answer in there. But if you go to www.communityworkscarolina.org and under services, look at affordable housing, and the links will be there.
Okay.
But I'll post that.
Hey, Anthony, I want to add something there. Sure. As Cindi and Paul mentioned, we all are bankers, have banking backgrounds. And a lot of people ask about flipping properties. It's rare to find a loan for that. The banks already own the properties in 2008, 2007. There were a lot of property that went back in foreclosures. So really financial institutions are not interested in that. So I would tell people, if to save your money or either use like homemaker line of credit, stuff like that. But it's difficult to find funding to do that. Probably non-existent, find funding to flip property.
Thank you for that.
Actually, yeah, and I'll just tag on to that.
Yes.
So we've experienced, there are some groups of wealthy investors that are willing to help you with that. You'll pay for it. Their interest rates are around 30%, which sounds really scary, except that you're only holding that note for about 18 months, right? So if you can build the interest carry, just Google, funding for house flippers, and you're going to have all sorts of different options. Again, with risk comes pricing. But if that's what they're interested in, there's not going to be a group like economic development specialists or traditional bankers that are going to be able to help with that.
Cindi, this is a follow-up. Business owner asked, it says, hi, Cindi, when I stated credit bureaus, I meant for business credit, not for personal, preferably Equifax and Experian.
Yes, and so we have found that Equifax and Experian have found perhaps another market to enter. And so some of those things are available for purchase. Paul, correct me if I'm wrong. Banks are looking at Dun & Bradstreet, and then they're looking at personal credit. They're not using that business credit. So there's a good sales team that's selling that from Equifax and Experian, but to my knowledge, it's not worth your money. So yeah. Dun & Bradstreet's where it's at.
Yeah, I can second that. And for us, and I think you would agree with this, people say, well, why do you need my personal credit? Because it's my business. It's my business. It's my business. Well, you are your business. When you're a sole proprietor and you're a startup LLC, you and your partners are the business. And it's important that you show, first of all, the track record that you can repay debt. And like Cindi said, it is a good thing that if we report your personal credit, it's going to enhance your personal credit score, which is going to be, and all of us on here, we want you to be bankable. We want you, when I said transitional, that's in everything. I want you, and I think Cindi touched on it earlier, but I want you to be able to pay on our loan for a couple of years and then go to a bank and get a 4% or 4.5% or 5% loan. Because, you know, we want you there. We're trying to get you access to capital.
Thank you, Paul. We have about 8 minutes left and a couple of more questions. Matthew Gule asked, we often hear that people should go into business ASAP. However, students who want to go directly into business cannot get startup loans easily because their parents may not be supportive. What's your advice? And that's an open question to the panel.
Well, it's not necessarily just the parents. One thing or two is like part of your business plan. You saw the application that Paul had earlier, had a resume out there. A part of it is what is your experience level? If you're going to a business you've never done before, it's already very risky to start a business for the borrower and the bank. So if you're doing something that you've never done before, you have very little experience, very little capital, things like that, it is more risk for the lender. And that's why they have the 10 to 20% equity injection and other barriers to entry also. So it's not just the borrower, the family backing them, it's experience level and everything else also. So I would say the less requirements for your business, the less it costs to start your business, it's probably easy to get backing that way. And then also, a lot of times you can start off with a business credit card. Maybe when you're very young or you're starting off business, a lender will offer you a business credit card, maybe a $5,000, $10,000 limit and something like that. And like Paul said, there people can start business with very little amount of money. So again, the less complicated and the less it costs you to start your business, you can find resources to do that. The more complicated that it is, the harder it's going to be able to find everything available to you to get your business off the ground.
Thank you, Frank. Now, this one comes from a question from Facebook Live. It says, are young adults ages 18 to 24 able to obtain funding to start a business?
Mm-hmm. So I want to echo what Frank just said. Get experience first. Someone else has already been down that road and they know how the business will get to profitability, right? So if you have no experience in that industry, you have no business trying to run a business in that industry. When we approve a loan, we have a risk rating sheet that's weighted from everything, what the collateral is, how much money does the business owner have in it, what's the credit score, but also a separate category, how long have they worked in the industry, and another category, how long have they managed in the industry. Mm-hmm. So go learn how to do it before you try to do it all by yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice. Great advice, Cindi.
And real quick, going back to when Frank used the term bootstrap, you know, and that was on a $100,000 question. Bootstrap's on a $5,000 question too, right? Oh, wow. So if you're serious about doing this, then start figuring out, you know, we don't live in a world where someone can come out of college with no money and just go to the bank and say, I want to start this business, you know? So you're going to have to start it with a few $1,000s and get a little proof of concept and show that what you're doing and growing on that. And like Cindy's saying is you've got to get the experience. Running a business is more than an idea. You know, everyone has a great idea. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone who was the best baker in the entire world and sells great cupcakes and cakes and everything and does catering events. And then they decide to open a restaurant and it blows up because they don't know how to manage people. They don't know how to manage payroll. The overhead overwhelms them. So like Cindi said, experience is essential. So it's sort of take a step back, one step back and two step forward.
Thank you, Paul. We've got a couple of more questions and it's going great. There's a lot of information, a lot of questions coming in, but we're running out of time. Next question says, is there a great visual you can share on establishing the Dun & Bradstreet once you have gotten your personal credit over the 700 mark.
Let me ask, hi, this is Angela from SBA also. Let me make
Hey,
a
Angela.
statement. Hi, before anyone answer that. Dun and Bradstreet is going away as of April the 1st. We have now the UEI. So establishing the Dun and Bradstreet will be null and void come, I'm sorry, April the 4th. So Monday, I think that is Tuesday, Dun and Bradstreet will no longer exist. So please take that into consideration.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Brewer from the Small Business Administration. Next question.
Let me piggyback on my
Yes, sir.
co-worker Angela Brewer there.
Yes,
Angela
sir.
works on the contracting side, so he's very involved in that. But the SBA has a process for individuals to attain that number that the SBA will be using. So you can really, like I said, contact our office with our website. I think there will be some upcoming things on that as well to obtain things like Angela said. I think it's called UVA, the new number that they'll be using in place of Dun and Bradstreet. And I think it'd be a free process also. So
Yes,
even people
it
who already
is.
have a DMB number, we have to get that number also.
Yeah, Dun, the UEI, unique entity identity, is free. I will send the link to Anthony so he can send out to those who did not know about the process, but there is a presentation they put on last week about the UEI. And if you currently have a Dun and Bradstreet and you have registered in SAM, that UEI is already into your profile. So don't worry if you already have Dun and Bradstreet, they've already assigned you a UEI. So you just have to keep it updated, but it is in the system.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Frank, I don't know if you can drop that in the chat, if you have the ability to drop that in the chat so our business owners can get it. I know we had a couple asking in reference to that. Last two questions before we have to end. It says, if you have, and it's probably for SBA, if you have an EIDL, if you have an existing business and you have an EIDL loan or IDA loan, can you apply for another loan for working capital to expand your business?
The answer to that question is yes.
All right, thank you, sir. And a business owner asks, is there a name for the affordable housing lending?
I'm not sure I understand the question. I mean, it's affordable housing. I mean, on our website, there's a tab for affordable housing. So I don't know if they can clarify more what they're asking there.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah. Okay, the viewer responded and say they actually understand.
Okay,
So,
good.
All
Very
right.
good.
I want to bring closure by saying I want to thank everyone for participating, for being here on today. I want to thank our panelists, guests for providing a wealth of information to access to capital. I would also like to take this time to extend to you a second invitation to come back maybe later on in the year so that we can actually continue this conversation with a different set of business owners so that they can get that access to capital. And also a special thank you to our support staff here, my coworkers, my team members here at CMA who made this possible, and to all of you business owners who participated today. Please feel free to reach out to us. I want to thank you for joining. You have our contact information, and this presentation will be available on our website as well. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. My email, I think, is in the chat as well. And you can also visit our website at cma.sc.gov if you have any questions. Once again, thank you all for joining and have a great rest of your day.